Hello. Welcome to helping you own your organization's most valuable asset in the cloud, your data. I'm Brad Orluk, Microsoft Alliances Director here at OwnBackup, and I'll be joined shortly by Alan Garcia, Principal Solutions Engineer. So what we're going to be covering today is that entire idea of, well, I've got a cloud-based application, why do I need to back it up? How data loss occurs with SaaS applications and native backup recovery, and is there a better way? And we'll show you some practical examples. But this is all about being able to understand what the landscape looks like, about figuring out what a strategy for approaching protection of your data in SaaS-based application looks like, and operationalizing that inside of your organization. A little bit about OwnBackup, 5,000 customers, primarily in the Salesforce ecosystem, where we started in about 2015, and naturally customers have adopted other platforms like Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, ServiceNow, and others. So we needed to bring our capabilities to where our customers were bringing their workloads. In doing so, we've grown to 900 employees. We're available inside of the Microsoft App Source as well as the Azure Marketplace as a transactable solution that has the added benefit of drawing down against your Microsoft consumption commitment agreement. So again, just great partnership with Microsoft. Data loss in the cloud is real. Based on some research that we did with Forrester, 49% of SaaS data loss is related to some kind of human error, and that could be miskeying data or a failed integration, misconfigured integration, a malicious actor, and beyond. So there's always some kind of human element to that. But what's even more interesting is out of that 49% of data loss and corruption happening due to human error, it's leading to actual downtime for customers, which is costing customers money. It is costing them satisfaction of their customers and more. Some other very interesting numbers would be a Gartner number. 65% of application development by 2024 is going to be no-code, low-code. And traditional backup and disaster recovery solutions don't address those capabilities and things that are being built out around no-code, low-code. And then I think the last number is very, very interesting in the sense that almost 2,000% is the increase in ransomware attacks. And we're starting to see ransomware become very sophisticated and target SaaS-based applications as well. Why this matters in the context of SaaSes, as you can see, there's SaaSes, there's PaaS, IaaS, and then on-prem types of applications. And if we think about this shared responsibility model, customers and service providers each have a different level of responsibility. When it was on-prem, it was all on the customer. Now, as things have moved into the cloud, and we look at a SaaS, for example, in this document from the Microsoft document portal, this is really a matter of Microsoft is the cloud data provider and the application data provider for, say, Power Platform or Dynamics 365. But the customer still retains the responsibility of data that's put into the application. So contractually, customers have to be mindful of this, because if we look at Microsoft's service agreement, and service agreements exist for SaaS applications with every vendor, is that Microsoft recommends that customers regularly back up their data or leverage third-party tools to store this data. And that's where OwnBackup comes into the equation, because we can help you hold up your end of the shared responsibility model easily in a very turnkey fashion. And as you can see, David Totten, a great partner of ours inside of the Microsoft partner organization, he says that we're really there to add an additional layer of protection for our joint customers. So it's really a better together story in the ecosystem. Now, to drill down into some of the product specifications and scenarios, I'm going to hand it over to Alan Garcia. Alan, over to you.
Thanks, Brad. Now let's talk about some common Dynamics 365 scenarios for data loss and corruption. The first is the most obvious. It's human error. So as you roll out your solutions and your apps into your user classes, they're going to be learning how to use the system, and invariably they're going to make mistakes. The second is the important export tool to Excel. So it's a great tool. It's giving the end users the ability to work with masses of data and re-import them in directly from Excel, but that naturally will have its risks. Then there's the Power Automate flow run. So in this world of low code, no code, we're starting to empower end users to use this platform to be much more efficient in their day-to-day operations. But sometimes we make mistakes when we configure things, and that can turn out to be disastrous. Then when we look at how we're going into this era of low code, no code, there are custom model driven apps and Canvas apps that are accessing Dataverse data in a whole new way. And so yet another opportunity for corruption and loss. Don't forget the richness and vibrant ISV community options out there. So the third-party applications that are integrating into your Dataverse environment. And then there's also Power Pages, previously known as Power Portal. So this is where you are able to extend that end user class into the customers. And so now you have end user error to the nth power because you're enabling the right capabilities to the masses. Finally, you've got solution ALM in your CI/CD, and that can be a challenge as well when it comes to maintaining the integrity and sanctity of your Dataverse environments. It doesn't go to say that Microsoft has left you in the dark. Let's not assume that. There are some great features that give you backup and recovery native to the Power Platform Admin Center. We've included these 3 resources that we found as the most relevant for good management practices of backup and recovery. The first is the instructions on how to do a manual backup and restore from within Power Platform Admin Center. The second one is the details around how Microsoft Data Center operations work in terms of your regular automatic backups. So you've got a weekly full, and then you have a daily diff, and then you've got your transaction logs for your point-in-time recovery. And then the last is a reference article on how to use PowerShell scripting in order to tie these things together and optimize what backups you're capturing for your environments. There's a better way, though. So at OwnBackup, we've created an opportunity that will show you where there's an ideal approach to handling data loss and corruption events in your Dataverse environments. Let's take a look. So when we first log into our environment, we can see every one of our tenant environments that's configured for backup. If we drill into the backup, we can see a lot of great details around that backup, including what the ebb and flow looks like for all of the create, update, and delete events that are occurring inside that database. So it's not just a mere backup, but it's a backup that you can have a look into without having any kind of work or querying or restores to do. As you can see, we could facet this by date and time. We can also facet this uniquely by the record type. So if we wanted to search just for contacts, we could search across all the hundreds of entity types or table types that are in there, and then we can see just that one faceted view. And at a single click, we can drill into the snapshot where we see the events of interest. From there, we can issue a find, so we can search across these backups without having to restore them. So we just simply choose where we want to do our search. We can issue our criteria across one or many backups. And in a simple wizard, we can create a search request across all of the entity types or just select ones and issue that job into the OwnBackup services. We can also create a quick compare from one snapshot to the other. So again, an easy wizard-based environment. We could set this up and compare one snapshot against the other. So we could choose all of the tables, or if we want to choose just one particular table and include the children in the hierarchies, we can do that. We can search across any time frame of the snapshots that are stored. And so it no longer relies on just the retention policies of your backup.
And once we do that, it will also create another parallel job that the system will run on the OwnBackup services. And finally, after a compare job is complete, we could actually take a look at some of the records in greater detail in order to generate or create a restore event. So here we're going to go into our precision restore screen. We're going to filter this and remove the added records, and we're going to remove the changed records. And now we have filtered out successfully only the records that we wanted to take a look at for the restore event. From here, we could choose one or more records, and we can add those into our restore bucket, which will then prime those records for a real-time write back into your target environment, whether that environment be a sandbox environment or production. So we can write in real time to either sandbox and production and never kick any users out of the system and not leave it in an administrative state. And after we've initiated a restore event, it's going to pause and give us an opportunity to review the information, further detail that if we need to, and then make sure that we're going to disable any kind of plugins or Power Automate flows or automations that are built in either from the solutions within your environment or from third-party applications, etc. At which point you can then resume that job and it will perform the write back real-time into your environment.
So now that you've seen a quick glimpse of the OwnBackup solution, you can understand the differences between what's native to your environment versus the extension or the supplement that we're offering here. The first is in the backup area. So with backups, your native Power Platform Admin Center gives you a full environment backup on a fixed schedule. So what that means is your entire database is getting backed up, and that's a good thing. And it's happening every night. And that's a good thing too. But that is out of your control. It's going to be part of the Microsoft operations schedule. Whereas with the OwnBackup solution, you choose your own dark hours. You get to choose when and how often you're doing your backups. And so you can manage that schedule and you can change it as time goes on. The second is the restore capabilities. So when you're restoring natively in the solution, you're only able to restore the entire instance, and you're only able to restore that into a sandbox environment. So what this means inherently is that you're getting your data and your metadata. And when you capture your metadata in a restore event, it will effectively roll back all of your enhancements and your CI/CD releases up until that point in time. With OwnBackup, we're only doing the data for your records. And so we allow you to do a table level, a data set level, a row level, or a field level restore. And we can write that to sandbox or production in order to keep your operations up and running smoothly. The next area is in the database retention. So with your backups, Microsoft offers 7 days to retain your sandbox environments and 28 days for your productions instances. With OwnBackup, our default is 99 years. We understand that with compliance being largely an external control factor, there's going to be an ebb and flow. So we wanted to make sure that there's a broad enough time frame that we can retain those backups for you to always stay compliant. And then lastly is the user interface and the actual process to do a recovery. So natively, you can do it. There's no questions about that. But you're going to be hitting multiple admin centers like admin.powerplatform.com and make.powerapps.com. You're going to be going through lots of different areas and avenues in order to find the information, restore the sandbox, export that, manipulate it, prepare it, stitch it together for any relationships that exist, and then import that back in for the correction or for the inserts. It's a heavy duty process. It's a lot of effort. Whereas with OwnBackup, we handle all of that hard work for you. It's easy to use, and there are no disruptions to either your production users or any of your ALM release efforts as well.
Great. Thanks for that, Alan. So what this all becomes a story about is how we OwnBackup help you own your own data. And our customers feel 3 times more prepared than a customer or than non-customers when it comes to having a data loss or corruption event. And those customers only have downtime that's typically a day or less versus a non-customer who's looking at almost a week of having an outage related to this data loss event. And the proof is really in that proverbial pudding, because we have hundreds of customers on a monthly basis reach out to us and engage our customer success team to help them restore the data that they need and to get them back up and running quickly. And speaking of customers, a great customer of OwnBackup would be Starkey Hearing Technology. Tim Daly, has a nice comment around the fact that we give Starkey more peace of mind to adopt new technologies and new workloads in Microsoft Cloud around things like Microsoft Power Apps. So again, it's all about better together and accelerating those positive outcomes for cloud workloads and adoption. And you can read about this yourself by following the link below. We know your time's valuable, so thank you so much for spending some time with us today during our session. If you would like to learn more, if you would like to participate in a no-cost proof of concept, please visit us on the web via www.ownbackup.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of Ignite.